All these big names of the past are all a spent force. And even the world champion now, if they took my belts and give them to Usyk, Moses still wreck him. Because he's a young man versus an old man. And old men can't mess with young men.
I think great fight. I was just talking to Joseph Parker in the back and I said that'll be a great fight for you. There's Joseph Parker there. There's who else is there out there?
Yeah, I think there's a queue. There's myself and Carbayel, but he's probably next in line after us, you know. He looked good tonight, very explosive and put on a great display, trained hard for it, and he deserves everything he gets, you know. Hard work pays off.
No, of course impressed, very impressed, but it's just a bit sad for Dillian. Like, he shouldn't really have been in there, if I'm honest, but what? You know that. You know that.
The kid's a superstar, man. Sad to see Dillian go out that way, but at the end of the day, it's boxing, it's brutal and it's a business, and that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. He's the next superstar, man, without a doubt. Do you know, I think someone like Hrgovic would be perfect. Will be perfect. He'll give him a few rounds, but he'll knock Hrgovic out.
Tyson Fury didn't hold back, dropping a bombshell that even Oleksandr Usyk would get wrecked if he ever stepped in the ring with Moses Itauma. Fury didn't hold back when talking about how dangerous that matchup could be and what he believes would happen if the teenager ever stepped in the ring with the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Usyk, AJ, Miller, whoever there is who's old, Zhang, whoever else there is, Luis Ortiz, all these big names of the past are all a spent force. And even the world champion now, if they took my belts and give them to Usyk, Moses still wreck him. Because he's a young man versus an old man. And old men can't mess with young men.
Coming from the Gypsy King himself, who has shared the stage with Usyk and knows the fight game better than most, his words carried plenty of weight. For Fury, there was no doubt in his mind that such a showdown wouldn't end well for Usyk right now.
I keep getting asked about young Moses Itauma fighting Oleksandr Usyk and fighting other big names. And my opinion is not someone who don't know boxing. My opinion is someone who has been there and won every single belt, won everything there is to win in boxing, and done very well. Boxing is a young man's game. Like I told Vladimir Klitschko when he was 37, boxing's a young man's game and he waits for nobody. So here's the opinion, you've heard it here first. Moses Itauma will wreck all them old men out of the division.
But at the same time, what sparked this conversation in the first place was the thunderous way Itauma destroyed Dillian Whyte, a man who for years stood as one of the gatekeepers and most experienced contenders in the heavyweight division.
We just witnessed a guy, a fighter that could go all the way, and he's so young and has tons of time ahead of him. I mean, Itauma, he's got everything it takes to become a world champion, but a great fighter, like one of the best pound for pound fighters in my opinion. And the reason I said that is because to knock Dillian Whyte out like that in just a round, wow, like the guy's a beast. I mean, I never expected that because Dillian Whyte doesn't go down easy. Dillian Whyte is a beast, and he was the lightest he's been, so he thought maybe he's gonna have the speed, movement and everything.
That first round demolition not only shocked fans, but also caught the attention of every top figure in boxing, including promoters, former fighters, and journalists, all debating what the teenager's next steps should be. And while Fury pointed out the reality of an Usyk matchup, others saw a glimpse of a very bright future.
No, you know what? You don't want to rush him. You want to take it easy. You want to take it slow. Don't rush him. Let him enjoy. He's still 20 years old. Let him get to 22, 23 years old, and that's then you start putting him in with the top names in boxing, like the Usyks and like the Wilders or even the Joshuas and the Furies. At the moment, I think you should keep on building him. Let him keep on winning like this. I mean, if he'll keep on knocking him out, getting some good fighters, but not the world title level. I mean, what if he wins the world title at 21, what's he going to do then? He can't go backwards, you know what I mean?
So when he said Joseph Parker in there afterwards.
I think great fight. I was just talking to Joseph Parker in the back and I said that'll be a great fight for you. There's Joseph Parker there. There's who else is there out there?
The knockout over Whyte was nothing short of brutal. Itauma didn't just win, he flattened a former world title challenger in the opening round, making it look almost too easy. Whyte had been in wars with some of the biggest names in the division, men like Anthony Joshua, Alexander Povetkin, and even Fury himself, but against Itauma, he simply couldn't survive the opening storm. Fans watching around the world couldn't believe their eyes, with many immediately rushing to social media saying they had seen enough to declare that the future of the heavyweight division was standing right there in front of them.
Yeah, I think there's a queue. There's myself and Carbayel, but he's probably next in line after us, you know. He looked good tonight, very explosive and put on a great display, trained hard for it, and he deserves everything he gets, you know. Hard work pays off.
Yeah, I am going to get on to you, Joseph, but first of all, Dillian Whyte, obviously, he's been a great servant to sport. If this is the end, obviously you've shared the ring with the man. How good has he been for the sport of boxing?
Dillian Whyte's been great for boxing. I shared 12 rounds with him, and even though I wanted to fight him again, he took this fight, so it's, listen, it's the sport we're in. You do the hunting or you get hunted, and tonight you got hunted.
As the dust settled, several boxing figures began weighing in on what should be next. Eddie Hearn, one of the most influential promoters in the sport, suggested that Itauma should now be matched against an unbeaten heavyweight to truly test him. Hearn acknowledged that the hype had gone through the roof after he dismantled Whyte, but warned that matchmaking from this point on had to be smart. In his view, another big challenge, especially against someone who had never tasted defeat, would be the right step in keeping the momentum while also pushing Itauma closer to the top.
Oh, of course, impressed. Very impressed, but just a bit sad for Dillian. Like, he shouldn't really have been in there, if I'm honest. But, what? You know that. You know that. I don't think, like, that was the worst matchup for him with no activity. And I felt like that was always going to happen. He's brilliant, brilliant. But I found it, knowing Dillian and everything, at 38 years old, I found it quite hard to watch.
Hearn wasn't alone in voicing his thoughts. Former rival of Whyte, Derek Chisora, also spoke up, offering his own take. His response carried more of an emotional tone, recognizing how cruel boxing can be when an experienced contender like Whyte suddenly gets brushed aside by a teenager. To him, Whyte deserved a chance to show he still had something left, though everyone agreed Itauma's victory was a statement that couldn't be ignored.
Listen, I'm a bit sad that Dillian had to go out like that. You know, the first minute of the round was perfect, and I don't know what happened there. He just lost everything, his legs, you know. It's quite sad to see an old G go out like that. Yeah, I was very surprised, but you know what? I'm just sad. I'm actually disappointed. 59 seconds of the first round.
Even still after the back and forth between yourself and Dillian recently, you still feel that sadness for him?
I'm sad still.
I mean, when you look at the future for Itauma, what do you think about his next for him?
Next one, don't know. Depends with the paymasters.
From the perspective of the fans, the knockout was the kind of performance that lights a fire under the whole division. On social media, countless comments came flooding in, calling Itauma the future of the heavyweights. The excitement wasn't just about the way he won, but also about the sheer confidence he carried in doing it. At just 19, Itauma showed a fearlessness that seasoned veterans sometimes struggle to maintain.
Fantastic event, fantastic opportunity, really grateful to Dillian Whyte for the opportunity. British boxing legend. So yeah, really pleased.
We spoke about this before in the week, and let's not kind of cut over the fact that Dillian Whyte has been in with everyone.
100%.
And this was a gamble from your side,
yeah.
From the stepping class between, say, a Dempsey McKean to someone like a Dillian Whyte, and that was a gamble. You took the gamble and it's paid off, but you shouldn't start saying, oh, Whyte was whatever now, because we didn't know what was going to happen tonight.
No, I think it's extremely disrespectful to have that approach. Like I say, nothing but respect with Dillian. Really appreciate him giving us the opportunity, and yeah, I think Moses deserves all the credit that he should be getting.
Journalists covering the fight pointed out that the heavyweight division had been put on notice. Itauma's demolition of Whyte wasn't just another win, it was a changing of the guard type of moment. They highlighted how this result forces every contender and champion alike to at least start considering Itauma as part of the conversation moving forward. Whether or not he's ready for the absolute top names, the message was clear. He is here and he is coming.
Like I say, when you look at the bigger picture, the bigger sort of dynamics, you go, well, where do you go with a kid that is this young, this exciting? Who are you going to put him in with? Who are you going to pitch him in with? Do you know what I mean? If it's not for a world championship against Usyk, who else are you going to put him in with? Joseph Parker. Obviously, he deserves a world title fight because he's been waiting for so long and he's earned his spot as the #1 mandatory. So a world title fight won't be Moses Itauma's next fight, but he's not going to be too far away.
And that's where Fury's take feels so significant. While others are already dreaming about potential fights against Usyk or even himself one day, Fury took the more grounded approach. He reminded everyone that the levels in boxing are huge, and a fight against the likes of Usyk would be far too much for Itauma right now. According to him, Usyk's skill set, experience, and ability to adapt in the ring would make it a mismatch, and Itauma would simply get wrecked in the process. Fury knows firsthand how tricky Usyk is, having been in discussions and stare-downs with the Ukrainian champion, so his warning was seen as a reality check amidst the hype.
Would you say right now, even if this fight doesn't happen, even if we're being a bit hypothetical here, that Itauma would be ready to get in the ring with Usyk and potentially beat him?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I still don't feel that even that performance is not enough to beat Oleksandr Usyk, because boxing's all about levels. And Usyk isn't the kind of, as I said before, Usyk's not on the slide. He's not, and he would, once you set out your game plan and you get your tactics and ABCD right, as Usyk has done, that's why he's unbeaten and a two division unified 4-belt era champion. That's what separates the good from the great. Moses Itauma is a good fighter. There's no doubt about it. And one day he can go on to be great.
Still, the fact that Itauma is even being mentioned in the same breath as Usyk and Fury at such an early stage of his career says a lot. He's barely scratched the surface of what he might achieve, yet people can't help but speculate about how he might fare against the very best. That's the kind of buzz his performance created.
Kid's a superstar, man. Sad to see Dillian go out that way, but at the end of the day, it's boxing, it's brutal and it's a business, and that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. He's the next superstar, man, without a doubt. Do you know, I think someone like Hrgovic would be perfect. Will be perfect. He'll give him a few rounds, but he'll knock Hrgovic out.
In the days after the fight, more predictions kept pouring in. Some experts argued that Itauma should be carefully guided, reminding fans that many promising prospects in the past had been rushed too quickly and paid the price. They suggested that giving him a run of solid, tough opponents would be better than throwing him straight into the fire with world champion.
I think Moses could make it an early night. He could take what possibly could be a test, a step up, and actually ace it. I think it could be earlier than the odds makers even think.
On the other hand, there were those who believed that special talents don't need the slow path. To them, Itauma had shown that he was ahead of his years, and matching him against unbeaten contenders or top 15 ranked heavyweights was exactly the right move to test how far he could go.
Absolutely devastating, stunning, spectacular. You can throw all the words you want at it. It was brutal, and this is what I feared going in. I'm a bit, when fighters give their all to the career, and you watch them throughout the years having wars and giving everything, like Dillian White against Chisora. You saw the action with the AJ fight. Look at him throughout all his career. He always goes out there, gives everything, has a tear up. He's exciting. He's a big character, big personality. And then when they get to a stage of the career where you feel as though it's that fight where it's kind of like...
What everyone agreed on, though, was that his knockout of White was a career-changing moment. For Itauma, it was the kind of victory that transforms a prospect into a serious contender overnight. For White, it was a devastating setback that raised questions about whether his days at the top level are over. And for the rest of the heavyweight division, it was a wake-up call that a new name has arrived, and he's not to be taken lightly.
I knew he was capable of doing that. You don't expect anything, do you? You don't take anything for granted, but I know he's capable of doing that. And he kept going on about game plan all week, and he executed it, and that's the end result. He's capable. If the capability to retain, to rinse, repeat, retain information, and execute, it just makes it that's the difference between good and great.
The storyline also carried an emotional edge when talking about White. Some former fighters expressed sympathy for him, acknowledging that he had given so much to the sport over the years. Facing knockout defeats is never easy, especially against a teenager, and for White, the calls for retirement or reassessment of his career came quickly. But those same voices still recognize the brilliance of Itauma, admitting that what he pulled off couldn't be dismissed as a fluke.
Quite a nasty ending for him, a nasty ending to a career. I was worried for Dillian going into that this would be that fight, and it was. I mean, that you don't get as it can't be any worse than that to punctuate a career, to end a career.
In many ways, this whole moment feels like a crossroads. For Itauma, the road ahead is full of opportunity, but also danger. If matched too quickly, he could be exposed. If matched carefully, he could grow into the kind of star that defines a generation. Promoters like Hearn are already eyeing the path, fans are demanding more, and legends like Fury are reminding everyone to keep their feet on the ground.
Yes and no, because like basically maybe like the first minute of the fight, Dylan was doing exactly what Ben was telling me that Dylan would do, and I wasn't picking up on it. And then I was just like, nah, I'm being a fool here. Like, I keep missing the thing like that's gonna give me the opportunity. And then I switched on, and then you see what happened, innit?
Looking ahead, the speculation will only get louder. Names will be thrown around, from unbeaten prospects to seasoned veterans who might serve as the next test. And with every prediction and every reaction, one thing becomes clearer. Itauma is no longer just a kid with potential. He's a force that has already shaken up the heavyweight scene.
Hey, this is a young kid, 20 years old, with devastating knockout power, bro. This have Mike Tyson type of energy all over it. Yeah, he's going to give these tough guys, he's going to give these veterans a hell of a time, bro. He's poised, he's patient, and he got that knockout power. He know how to set it up. It's going to be a nightmare to get rid of this guy, man.
There's been so much talk about Itauma. His talent, we've said how talented he really is. Now he's doing on the big stage, the main event. That's another level now, isn't it?
Well, we know Dylan White came in here being knocked out a couple times, wanted to see could he land a punch on this young kid, but he didn't have a chance tonight. He got mowed over, and this is a big win for a young guy.
In the end, Itauma's name is now on everyone's lips. From Fury's warning to Hearn's matchmaking plans, from former rivals speaking emotionally about White to fans flooding social media with excitement, the story of this teenager has only just begun. And if his demolition of White was any indication, it might just be the first chapter in a career that keeps the heavyweight division buzzing for years to come. So stay tuned, because Ring Rivalry will be bringing you every twist, every reaction, and every showdown as this story unfolds. Don't forget to like, drop your thoughts in the comments, share with fellow fight fans, and hit subscribe so you never miss the action.